So you're about to be a dad and you're completely excited, but there's a small part of you that's actually kind of terrified. If that's you, let me share 3 tips with you that I think might be able to help you out. What's up, fellas? This is Vidal here with Alpha Dad Consulting, where we specialize in helping dads achieve success in family, finance, and business. I want to welcome you to our first episode here on YouTube, and today we're going to be focusing on the soon-to-be dad. Whether your wife just told you that she's pregnant or your due date is next week, you're going to be able to get some value out of this video. So let's get into it. When my wife first told us that she was pregnant, we were completely excited, especially because we had been trying for about 5 years to have a kid. And lo and behold, it finally came true. I remember coming home from the first ultrasound after we heard our son's heartbeat for the first time. Now, my wife that night, she went to bed super happy and stoked. And of course, I was pretty happy as well until I picked up my phone and I look at my Chase Bank app. I started looking at our bank accounts and I noticed that our savings are super low. Barely enough to hold us over for a few months if I were to lose my job. Not to mention, staring at me right in the face is $33,000 of debt. Credit card debt, loans, you name it, we had it. Now, looking at the reality of the situation, I start sweating bricks because I don't know how the heck we're gonna get out of this. I'm thinking to myself, I only have about 9 to 10 months to figure this stuff out, because as soon as that kid is here, life's gonna change. So I start getting into my own head and I fall into what I like to call the case of 1,000 what ifs. What if I would have went to college and actually finished? What if I would have went for that promotion at work? What if I would have learned how to start a business a lot sooner? What if I wouldn't have bought all these PS4 games and stuff that I got stacked up this high? What if I would have spent more time learning how to use credit to my advantage instead of letting it take advantage of me? All these questions start rolling through my head and I start freaking out. I start stressing out about all this. My focus was all over the place, freaking out over things that I couldn't control. And that's tip number 1 for you guys. Focus on what you can control. And the only thing in this life that you can control is yourself. The state that you're in, how you perceive things, anything that goes on in here is something that you can control. And when you're about to be a dad, if you're focusing on things that you can't control, you won't be able to enjoy the special moments that you'll have during that pregnancy leading up to where you can see your child for the first time. So tip number 2 is an interesting one. Among our group of friends and family, we're actually the last couple to have a kid, which means that we had the blessing to be able to watch all of our friends and family go through the parenting phase before we even got started. And what they were able to do for us is provide us with a lot of advice of what to do and not to do. One of the things that my wife and I learned, which is tip number 2, is to set expectations and goals for your family. Now, what I mean by that is, with my wife, she had a pretty tough recovery after giving birth to our son. So I had to step in and actually do a lot of the initial caring. Now, of course, I wasn't breastfeeding or anything like that. I'm not the type of dude that's about to get a fake boob and put that on me to try to feed my son. I was using a bottle, I was using formula. My wife, thankfully, over time, she was able to breastfeed, which was good. Initially, it was hard. I had to take care of her. She had a hard time bathing herself or showering, so I had to help her with that. I had to make sure our son took his naps and, was fed, was changed, there was like a poop explosion or something. I had to handle it. Talking about those expectations made it easier to go through those times because my wife knew that she could rely on me and she could expect me to step up when she needed me to, and vice versa. If I had something, if I had a need, if I had to go to work or something like that, she could step up or somebody else could step up in the family to help us out. So any expectations you can set before your child is here, I'm telling you, it makes a world of a difference. Now, the other thing, just as important, is setting a goal for your family. Now, what I mean by setting a goal is just to have something to look forward to. My wife and I try to do like a movie night here and there. And right now we can't even go out because of this whole COVID thing. The goal doesn't have to be anything huge. It doesn't have to be, hey, let's make $1 million by next year. That could be a pretty lofty goal and I'm cool with that. But set some realistic goals, something that you can do as a family. Whether it's going to the park after this COVID thing goes away, or whether it's just having a movie night, a little dinner night with her. When you're taking care of an infant, it can be pretty tedious and you get stuck in this routine. So having something to look forward to, like a small little goal like that, is gonna help you out. Now, before we get into tip number 3, no matter how many goals you set, there is something that you're gonna feel like you're running out of after you have a child, and that thing is time. Time will fly by so fast, you won't even believe it. You're gonna blink and your kid's gonna be 8 months old. You're gonna blink again, and they're gonna be 2 years old. It's just gonna go by super fast. So what I wanna do for you is help you get your time back by giving you this free gift. This is something I learned and put together for you. It's called the Get Your Time Back Challenge. All it is a simple 3-page guide that if you follow will make you feel like you got 25 hours in a day. This is something that I learned and I put into practice in my life, and it made a huge difference. And still to this day, it helps me when I reference it. And I want to provide that as a free gift for you for joining me here today. Just go to alphadadconsulting.com/time or click on the link in the description below. So let's get into tip number 3. Tip number 3 is simply evaluate your network. Now, what does that mean? All it means really is check your friends, guys. Check the people that you have around you. Take stock in what they do and how they influence you in your life. After this kid is born, I guarantee you that your outlook on life is gonna change. That's what happened to me. I ended up having to cut a lot of people out of my life after we had our son because they just weren't gonna be a good influence on him, on me, on my wife. They weren't gonna be good people to have around. So I had to make a decision, and yes, that decision is not an easy one to make because of course you care about your friends, you love your friends and all that. But trust me, if your friends really love and respect you and respect your family, then they should be willing to be a positive influence on you and your family. They should be willing to change their behaviors if they're causing you grief. The same way that you would change your behavior if you're causing them grief. But most people are selfish rather than selfless. They're gonna look out for themselves before they look out for you. Now in that regard, you have to be sort of selfish in your life and look out for you and your family. You want to make sure that you have people around you and your family that are going to push you to strive to that next level and to keep going, keep succeeding in life. People that are going to bring unity and peace to your family and not instigate or cause trouble. Get those people out of your life. Trust me. It's worth it. Alpha dads have to make tough decisions, but it's those decisions that you make that either strengthen or weaken your family. So make the right ones. So that's going to wrap up our video for this week. So I have a question for you guys. As a soon-to-be dad, what are you most excited about and what are you kind of scared of? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified whenever we release a new episode. We're going to be releasing episodes every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. Pacific. Please stay tuned for more episodes as we'll continue to keep diving into more tips and strategies to help dads achieve success in family, finance, and business and become that alpha dad that I know you can be. All right, my fellow alpha dad, this is Vidal. I'm out. I'll catch you on the next one.